My wife came home after cheating on me with her coworker, so I paid her back by taking everything she had. I am a lawyer and always occupied with different cases, which pushes me to spend more time with my case files in my chamber and less time with my wife. But I always make sure to be there for her, to make everything special and to make her feel the same way as she did back 10 years ago on the day I proposed to her. She immediately said yes. Candace works as an assistant manager in my brother's company, and she is always present and attentive in her work. But that has never stopped her from being a good wife or mother. Since the day she got promoted to an assistant manager position in a different branch, things had been very rough with regular arguments. She had been coming home later than usual, and I thought it was because she was adjusting to a different branch with different people. But my doubt and fear escalated the day she came home very drunk, dropped off by her friend because she was unable to walk. I already tucked our daughter in bed and took Candace to our room. I was changing her clothes when something caught my eye. I saw two huge dark spots, the type you get after a kiss on her back and one on her shoulder. Something inside my stomach turned up and down, and I felt anxiety creep in, along with lots of other thoughts of how and why. I kept my composure, relaxed my mind, and let myself not overthink and doubt her. I headed towards the living room and started preparing myself for tomorrow's case, but my mind was still revolving around those spots and how she got them. After all that thinking, I decided to confront her the next day before she left for work. Her cold and irritated behavior was already bothering me, and all these little details were the cherry on top. I never knew our marriage would turn bitter after 10 years of sweetness, and maybe it was just a phase. I went inside our bedroom, and her phone was continuously buzzing every second. My mind was questioning who could be texting her, so I went to the desk and tried checking her phone. In our 10 years of marriage, Candace never had a lock on her phone, and this time her phone was locked. My thoughts again started haunting me, and I was thinking about our lives, our daughter, and everything we shared. I put the phone back on the desk and went outside to get ready for today's case. I went inside the kitchen and started preparing breakfast for Candace and our daughter. I placed the dishes on the table and suddenly felt someone hugging me from behind. I turned around and saw Candace smiling and hugging me tightly. I hugged her back and felt relaxed, but there was another thing that caught my mind. She always wore rose and vanilla mixed perfume, and today she smelled like men's perfume, and her hair smelled as if she had been smoking. All these little details made me not hug her back. She sat in front of me at the dining table, all smiley faces, and she was in a very cheerful mood. But I was not happy, so I asked her the reason behind her happiness. She told me she was happy because I made her breakfast. I couldn't stop myself from asking where she was last night, so I eventually did. The smile on her face faded. She apologized and told me that she forgot to inform me about the welcome party in her new office. She was forcing herself not to drink but eventually ended up drinking a lot. She looked frightened and suspicious. I asked her where she got all those spots on her back and when she started putting locks on her phone. She stood up, put her hand on her head, and started grabbing her hair like a crazy person. I ran towards her and tried to stop her. She was screaming and crying at the top of her lungs. I got scared by her behavior. She said I was not seeing her effort she had been putting in her work and doubting her for finding someone. She called me insensitive, that I didn't care to ask about the marks and just made my assumption that it was a spot. She said it was a burn she got in the club. I guess anyone at my place would have done the same thing. Before I could say anything, she stopped me by telling me that her phone password was my birth date, and because of office files in her phone, she had to put a lock. After all the screaming and shouting, I went to work. During my work, I couldn't stop thinking of different possibilities, and I wanted to talk to my brother James about it, but our marriage privacy was another thing that would make Candace more upset, so I just tried to forget it. I don't know, I found Candace's behavior very suspicious. I went back home, and our little daughter, Lily, was playing with her toys in the bedroom. I heard Candace giggling and talking to someone. She was not laughing in a fun way but more in a flirty way. I headed towards the room and overheard her saying, "How red is it?" What was she talking about? Giggling. As soon as I opened the door, she immediately hung up the call and gave a fake laugh. She got scared. I asked her to whom she was talking while pretending to be searching for something. She shrugged off by saying it was just a friend and left the room. Nope, it wasn't just a friend. There was indeed something going on with the way she was acting and making me into thinking differently. Update 1, it's been 3 weeks since my last update. It was pretty hard for me to do anything after seeing those spots or whatever she called it. Let me tell you guys, my instinct was right, and I was not overthinking.